जय राधा माधवा, जय कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन, यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन। यमुना तीरा वनचारी, यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवर धारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवर धारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजना, यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजना। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजना, यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजना। यमुना तीरा वनचारी, यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जय गंधर्विका गिरिधारी, गंधर्विका गिरिधारी गौर हरि। जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह, जय अनंत देव। लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय अनंत देव। जय भक्त वत्सला श्री बालाजी, भक्त वत्सला श्री बालाजी। जय जय प्रभुपाद, प्रभुपाद, प्रभुपाद। जय जय प्रभुपाद। जय जय गुरुदेव, गुरुदेव, गुरुदेव। जय जय गुरुदेव। निताय गौर हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल। निताय गौर हरि बोल। जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। पतित पावन गुरुदेव की जय। हरे कृष्णा। Before I begin, I would like to seek the blessings from all the devotees, and I would like to thank all my senior Vaishnavas to give me this opportunity to speak Srimad Bhagavatam early in this morning. So let us start with the prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tatho Jayam Udhirayet. Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर भवती नैष्ठ की। श्रीमद् भागवतम 2.9.30। ततश्च मनवः काले, ततश्च मनवः काले ईजरे ऋषियो परे, ईजिरे ऋषियो परे। पितरो विबुधा दैत्या, पितरो विबुधा दैत्या। मनुष्याय मनुष्याय क्रतुभिः कृतुभिर्विभुम् मनुष्याय कृतुभिर्विभुम् ततश्च मनव काले जरे ऋषयो परे पितरो विबुधा दैत्या मनुष्याय कृतुभिर्विभुम्. Word by word meaning. Tata, thereafter, cha, also, Manava, the Manus, the father of mankind, Kale, in the due course of time, Ijare, worshipped, Rishaya, great sages, Apare, others, Pitara, the forefathers, Vibhuda, the learned scholars, Daitya, the great devotees of the demigod, Manushayaha, mankind, Kratubhi, he, Vibhum, by performance of sacrifices to please the Supreme Lord. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Thereafter, the Manus, the fathers of mankind, the great sages, the forefather, and the learned scholars, the Daityas and the mankind performed sacrifices meant to please the Supreme Lord. Translation and then purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The Daityas are the devotees of the demigods because they want to derive the greatest possible material facilities from them. The devotees of the Lord are Ekanishtha, or absolutely attached to the devotion service of the Lord. Therefore, they have practically no time to seek the benefit of material facilities. Because of their utilization of their spiritual identity, they are more concerned with their spiritual emancipation than with material comforts. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकं. वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवंश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितं च. हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता श्री राधा कांता नमस्तुते. तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय. वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. Mukam karoti vachalam bhangam langayate grimituparamam vande Shri Guru Dinadaram Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanyeshwaram. Hare Krishna. So let us proceed with this shloka. So before we start the shloka and the explanation about this particular topic, let us understand a little more about the context on which the shloka is being spoken. I know we have been hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam classes, chapter 2 especially, for a good amount of time. But yes, I just wanted to give a quick, the background of it so that we understand where did the shloka start and what is the context of it. So here, if we want to know who is speaking, because Srimad Bhagavatam, the way it is spoken, we see many people speak, and there are many here people who are hearing, right? Like in the beginning, we see Sukdev Goswami is speaking, and Parikshit Maharaj, along with a lot of sages, they are all hearing. And in between, we also see the conversation of Brahmaji and Narad Maharishi, conversation of Yudhishthira, and then conversation of, Sut Goswami, and all the sages who are assembled there, conversation of Chatuskumara. So a lot of conversations are there, and this is why Srimad Bhagavatam is considered to be a ripened fruit, which is very, very tasty, because we are hearing, we are learning in the form of conversations. Right? In my previous class, I was mentioning about how nowadays the podcast is becoming very popular. People learn from podcast. There is a person who's taking interview, another person who is responding to the queries. So this podcast system, if you see, it was initiated by Lord Shri Krishna way back in 5,000, more than 5,000 years back, when Arjuna was asking question and Lord Krishna was answering all the points. So that was a very easy way to learn. And that is why we see Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita, everywhere we see these kind of conversations going on, and we learn from those conversations. So here we see that the speaker in this context is Lord Brahma. Brahma, who is also called creator, but we understand that Brahma is a secondary creator. And we don't say that. Brahma himself is clarifying that point here when Narad Maharishi was asking him, "Are you the creator?" Right? That was the beginning of the conversation. So we see here Brahma is speaking, and Narad Maharishi, who is also the son of Brahma and is also a very powerful sage, is listening from Brahmaji and getting this knowledge. And our sampradaya is also called Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya because it comes from Brahmaji, and then it comes then Narad Maharishi, and then the entire disciplic succession. That is why our parampara is very, very powerful, very strong. And we see that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in our parampara very, very recently, just 500 years back. So that is why the knowledge, the information, the details, the conversations are very, very powerful when we talk about Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, which ISKCON is following, which ISKCON belongs to, right? So in this context, we see that the chapter talks about Purusha Shukta. Lord Brahma is explaining to Narad Maharishi a lot of things about this entire cosmic manifestation. I'm sure you would have seen the Vaikuntha, the Goloka chart. In that you have the material creation, you have the spiritual living entities, spiritual planets, and then you have the Goloka. In the spiritual, the topmost is the Goloka. So it is amazing, and for the ordinary person, it is beyond their imagination because all they know is whatever we have learned in our science books, that there are 9 planets, and sometimes they keep getting confused with Pluto, whether it is a planet or a satellite. So Pluto himself is confused, like should I fall into the planet or satellite? But when we look into the ancient scriptures, the Vedic scriptures, it talks about one Brahmanda consists of 14 planetary systems, right? And then it talks about how did these these Brahmandas are coming from when Mahavishnu is exhaling, all these planets are coming, and all these Brahmands are coming, and each Brahmand has a Brahma. So it is not that we have only one Brahma, there are so many Brahmas. There are 10-headed Brahmas, there are 100-headed Brahmas are there. So Brahma is speaking about this entire cosmic manifestation to Narad Maharishi. He talks about in the previous shlokas we have seen. He talks about living beings. He talks about various ingredients of performing yajnas, especially the sacrificial rituals. This entire space and how does it originate from Purusha, which is the Supreme Lord. So Brahma explains all the created living entities following his own example, that how did he perform tapasyas. So we see that in this, if going a little back to chapter number 5 within this frame, the specific conversation started in chapter number 5 of second canto, where Narad Maharishi actually came to Brahmaji and he asked these small questions, very fundamental questions were asked by Narad Maharishi. Questions like, what is the source of this material universe, right? When we also sit and think, sometimes we might be thinking, okay, we are from this planet Earth, and planet Earth is, revolving on in its own axis, and then it is taking rotation of, sun. And then when we might be imagining, okay, sun, planets, earth, this, moon, stars, where is it all? There should be a place, right? So you see here, Narad Maharishi is also asking something like that. He's asking what is the source of this entire material universe. He's asking how is it created and how is it sustained, right? Creating is very easy, but maintaining is very, very difficult, right? Maintaining and controlling, how is it happening? And then he also asked this question to Brahmaji very clearly, that are you Brahma, are you the ultimate creator? Or is there a supreme controller above you also? That also Narad Maharishi inquired because he had got his questions and he had got his doubts. So in response, we see that Brahmaji is clarifying. He says that very clearly that he is not independent. Brahma is also not independent, like we just heard that Brahma. There are a lot of Brahmas are there in this planet, in this universe. When Mahavishnu is exhaling, there are a lot of Brahmans which are coming. Yeah, uncountable Brahmas are there. So Brahma is saying he's not independent, and he says he's empowered by Lord Vishnu to create this universe. So we know that Vishnu is giving this entire raw material, and then Brahma is creating out of it. So he himself doesn't have anything. He has to depend on Vishnu to give him the ingredients to create this universe, right? So in chapter 6, we see that Brahma's elaboration on the Purusha Sutta is there, and he's detailing how every aspect of creation and ritual worship derives from the Supreme Lord. We also have heard this in Bhagavad Gita Shloka 5.29 that the entire benefactor of the sacrifices, the tapasya which we are doing, it is the Supreme Lord. Bhoktaram Yagna Tapasam Sarvalok Maheshwaram. Krishna is saying, I am the Bhokta. So whatever sacrifice we are doing, whatever tapasya yagna we are doing, the ultimate beneficiary is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, right? So this is the little context I wanted to bring out before we even discuss about this shloka and the tapasya. So we see here it is mentioned Ekanishtha. The point is clarified by Prabhupada. He's stressing on the point that the devotees of the Lord are Ekanishtha, or absolutely attached to the devotional service of the Lord. Therefore, they have practically no time to seek the benefits of material facilities. Now you see this, everybody is running behind, comforting themselves, right? We all earn money. Why? Because we have a good house, we have a good vehicle, and then we have good facilities so that we are relaxed, we are comfortable. But here in this shloka, it is being mentioned that the devotees of the Lord are Ekanishtha, and they are attached to the devotional service of the Lord. So this is the question to ask ourselves, that are we creating these material comforts just for us, just for our sake? If the answer is yes, then we are on the wrong path, because we are just utilizing the entire money which is given by Krishna to just create material benefits for ourselves, right? You buy a very nice cushion, full of cushion sofa, you buy a very big vehicle, and then you have a very big house, and the entire purpose of you praying also, sometimes people pray, my dear Lord, give me this, give me that. So if the purpose is this, then we are wrong, we are in a wrong path. The point is that if we consider ourselves to be the devotees of the Lord, so our purpose should be that whatever facilities Krishna has given to me, my car, my house, my family, myself, everything, my knowledge, my job, everything I should be utilizing for the devotional service. There are various aspects of devotional service. When we are sitting and chanting Hare Krishna, that is also a devotional service. So we have to ask this question, that are we engaging ourselves all the time only about creating the material comforts? If the answer is yes, then we are on a wrong path, and we should immediately correct ourselves, right? Because Prabhupada is mentioning here, because of their realization of the spiritual identity, they are more concerned with spiritual emancipation than with material comforts. Now, as a devotee of the Lord, we must understand, when we have read Srimad Bhagavatam, when we have read Bhagavad Gita, we have understand this knowledge, but the normal people have not. So we cannot compare ourselves with the normal people who are there on this world, and who are running behind a lot of material comforts, and they are always in anxiety. We don't have to copy them, right? Yesterday, I was reading a very nice book by Bhakti Purushottam Swami Maharaj, and he was writing about the appearance of Navdeep Dham. So it was very nicely mentioned that the Navdeep Dham, the Mayapur Dham, is very confidential. Even though it has been elaborately mentioned in the scriptures, you have so many references, more than 30-40 references I saw in the book, where the references are coming from Skanda Puran, from Padma Puran, from Garun Puran. Lot of references are there which talks about Mayapur Dham. But the Navdeep Dham is very, very confidential. Why? Because Maharaj mentions in his book, he says that the entire cosmic creation is created by Lord Krishna except one, and that is Mayapur Dham. Mayapur Dham was created by Radharani, Srimati Radharani, along with her Sakhis, just to attract Lord Shri Krishna. And that is the beauty of Mayapur Dham. That is the transcendental nature of the Mayapur Dham. So we know these confidential things because we read the scriptures, but people who do not read the scriptures, they will not know this. And that is why they are thinking that just by creating material comforts, their life is going to be very easy. But that is not the right answer. If that was the right answer, then we would have seen all these people who are millionaires and billionaires, who are trillionaires. I think there is one person who has become trillionaire also now. right? So that person also keeps cribbing all the time, right? He's not saying that I am fully happy, I'm transcendental, I'm satisfied. No, he is still cribbing even after becoming the richest person on this globe, even after becoming the trillionaire, right? So they are always lamenting. So if that was the source of happiness, then all these people should have been very, very happy. They should be having a aura behind their head, very transcendental, always happy, blissful smile. They don't have. They are very fearful. They are scared that they may lose their opportunity. They may lose their positions, right? So they're always, always scared. They're always in anxiety. But see, the devotee of the Lord, they're always, always very happy, very satisfied, because they know that we are here in this world. We are worshipping the Supreme Lord. When we go from this material world, we are going to be with the Supreme Lord. It is such blissful nature, right? So they are not at all worried. So even if you talk about a common human being, such basic sense they should have, that they should read the scriptures. Even the UNO says the scriptures which are there from India are very, very powerful, the Vedic scriptures, because they have the fine detailing of everything, right? Right from the creation, right about human nature, right about medical science, architecture, everything is present in the scriptures. You see the great temples of South India. When we go for the yatras, we see there are such beautiful temples, such fine detailing. There was no computer at that point of time, right? And they are created in such a way that they are still existing. Thousands and thousands of years have passed, but these temples are still as it is. But we see there are so many apartments, so many buildings which come across 100, 200 years and they're gone. We have to again change them, even though we are putting iron rod, cement, this, that, blah, 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 so many things. But still the life is very short. But you see those ancient architecture. So the source is this scriptures, which is very powerful. And that is why I'm saying the basic common sense is that as a non-devotee also, we should just make an effort to read the Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita and understand the real nature of this material world. Otherwise, people will be just confused. So we know that there are 84 lakh species of the life, right? We see that as per scriptures, it says that there are 9 lakh aquatics. So evolution of human being, before we get this human body, we have to pass through these 9 lakh types of aquatic, inside the water bodies. We have to live in different species of life. Then once we come across that, then we have to, when we pass through those 9 lakh lifetimes, then we become a vegetation, plants, trees. And trees life is such big, right? One single life of tree is such big. We have to go through 20 lakhs such lifetimes. Just imagine how many millions and thousands of the years the Jivatma is struggling with the animal body, with the water body, and with the vegetation body, right? So after 20 lakh species, we see that we become 11 lakh types of these insects. We see all these insects in our area, right? Cockroaches or housefly or honeybee. So many insects are there, right? So we have to become 11 lakhs time those insects. Then comes 10 lakh times of the birds, right? Flying in the air, going here, there, everywhere. And then 30 lakhs time of these four-legged animals. And after all this, we become a human. And after becoming human, if we are again doing the same ahara, nidra, bhayana, maitunam, then again we are going to fall into the same cycle. And this cycle, like this wagon wheel, it keeps going up and down. We will be sometimes going into the higher species of life. Again, we might be going into the lower species. Higher, lower. And till this material creation is there, people are going to be in anxiety all the time. That is why this place is not called Vaikunta. This is called Kuntha, place of anxiety. And Vaikunta is where there is no Kuntha, where there is no anxiety. So people should know that this is a very difficult place. So the purpose of human life is to perform tapasya. And we see this also coming up in the Bhagavad Gita Shloka 17.17. If you want to go through, you can check that. Let me quickly read through that. Bhagavad Gita 17.16. It is mentioned that Manaha Prasada Sobhyavitam Mauna Mauna Atma Vinirgraha. So the translation is satisfaction, simplicity, gravity, self-control, and purification of one's existence are the austerities of the mind. And the next shloka very clearly, and in this purport, Prabhupada is very nicely explaining that how we have to divert our mind from sense gratification. He doesn't say that you have to stop. He says you have to divert the mind, because the sense gratification is very, very powerful, which eventually forces a person to work like a donkey to increase the material comforts. Why? Because the man wants to do a lot of sense gratification more than what is required for them. So the Prabhupada is mentioning the best course is to divert the mind to the Vedic literature, which is full of satisfying stories, as in the Puranas and the Mahabharata. One can take advantage of this knowledge and thus become purified. The mind should be devoid of duplicity, and one should think of welfare of all. Silence means that one is always thinking of self-realization. The person in Krishna consciousness observes perfect silence in this sense. So this is very important, that sometimes they say we are in the Mauna today, but in the Mauna inside your mind, what are you thinking? That is the question, right? Prabhupada is saying a devotee, when he is observing silence, it means that he is always thinking of self-realization. Is always thinking about how he can come out of this material world, how he can serve the Supreme Lord. These are the thought process of the person who is a devotee and who is observing silence. So silence doesn't mean the person doesn't speak. Silence means the person speaks only where is required and speaks only about the glories of the Supreme Lord. He does not speak the unwanted things. So that is a tapasya. Now, if you see the next shloka 17.17, Prabhupada is in the shloka, Lord Krishna is mentioning this threefold austerity performed with transcendental faith by men, not expecting material benefits. Right? This is very important. 17.17, Krishna is mentioning, when we perform tapasya, not expecting material benefits, but engaged only for the sake of Supreme. That is called austerity in goodness. That is called sattvic austerity. Otherwise, it is not it cannot be called as austerity at all. So we have understood one thing, that performing tapasya is very, very important in this human body, because in the human body, we can understand that how we have to go through so much of transmigration, and then we get a nice human body, which we can engage in the service of the Lord. Right? We have read in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, that how we should not waste our human life, correct? And that is why we should be Ekanishtha. Our purpose of tapasya should be dedicated to to Supreme Lord Krishna, right? Otherwise, like all these people, we see that even though they have a lot of money, but they are always in anxiety. For example, we see that people might be very, very happy to see their faces on the mirror, thinking that, oh, I'm looking so beautiful today. I have applied this particular foundation or this particular cream or this particular gel. I'm looking so beautiful. How long? How long we are going to be beautiful, right? As the time progresses, the skin is going to become very loose, and faces are going to become very fat, and we are going to lose that beauty. So we are going to suffer big time if we are only focused on the beauty, right? Because the beauty is going to go, it is going every day, right? And then we see that honeybee example. Honeybee is struggling throughout the day and night, collecting nectar and then creating a honeycomb. But what happens? The honeycomb is taken by someone else. In the same manner, we see people are working hard so much. They earn 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs, 40 lakhs, 1 crore, 2 crores, but they are not satisfied. They think, oh, that is not sufficient for me. So we should ask this question, is it really not sufficient for you, right? Because what happens when we are earning so much, we have to struggle so much, right? We have to spend so many hours in the office, and the spending time in office is not sitting in a resort, right? We have to go through a lot of difficulties. We have to meet our targets. We have to hear the manager's scoldings at times. We have to go for meetings. We have to take a lot of action points. We have to think a lot of corporate, so much of thinking. When we do so much, when we give our entire precious time to them, they give us some amount, which we call it salary. And if we are going on earning throughout our life, then we are not going to be satisfied, and one day will come where we would have lost in our health. We would have suffered big time, because we have not given time for exercise, we have not given time for family, we have not given time for our spiritual realization, spiritual reading. So what happens? We become very dry, and we become, we fall sick. And when we fall sick, the company has another person to replace us, right? So we have to work, but we shouldn't work in such a manner that we are only working like a donkey, like a honeybee. where our entire money, so suppose a person dies, they have got 30, 40, 50 lakhs in their account. What will happen? That money will be used by the family or someone else, right? Sometimes if they have not nominated the family members, the money will go to the unclaimed account balance. So whatever hard work person did, it is all gone to the to someone else, right? So we have to balance all the time. We have to always balance that I am doing this job because I have to support my family in Krishna consciousness, right? I have to contribute for my circle, for my group. I have to contribute for prasadam distribution so that this mercy reaches to everybody, right? This is how we have to have this mindset. Otherwise, see, there are so many living entities who are surviving without doing job, right? We have these birds, we have these so many living creatures. They don't go to office, but they are still maintained, right, by the Supreme Lord. So we have to work, but we have to work in a manner where we are balancing our Krishna consciousness. We are not working like a donkey, like some corporate stupid managers who are all the time, day and night. Their only focus is that how I will make more money. And if you ask them how many hours you were logged in, very confidently, very boldly, they say, I was working for 20 hours yesterday, right? But actually, they are donkeys, right? Because if you're working 20 hours a day, you are wasting all your precious time only for, for satisfying your client and satisfying your boss. That's it. And that boss is going to replace you very soon the moment you fall sick or ill, right? So, we have seen various examples in the past of people who performed tapasya for material benefits, right? I'm sure you would know the example of Ravana. He was doing such a strong tapasya. His tapasya was so strong that he used to cut his one head after 1,000 years of tapasya, and he had 10 heads. So by the time he cut his 10th head, he was going to cut. Then Brahmaji appeared after 10,000 years of tapasya. Just imagine, right? And after 10,000 years of tapasya, he got that bone that he cannot be killed by anybody except human being. But Lord Shri Ram comes as a human being and kills him because he was using all his power for material sense gratification and troubling others. So see, 10,000 years of tapasya and how much enjoyment he could do. He gained a lot of power, but it went off. Right? That's the power. That's the problem in the material sense gratification. It will come, but it will go. When it goes, it will leave you disheartened, destroyed, troubled. Right? Entire family of Ravana was killed. Entire generation was wiped out because of this material sense gratification desire of Ravana. We see another example of Hiranyakashipu. He also performed so much tapasya. I think 50,000 years of tapasya when he performed, he had only bones left in his body. There was no flesh because it was eaten by those termites, and they had built one nice mountain kind of structure on his head, but he still had this life air with him. And then when Brahmaji appears, he showers that nectar water. Then again, he regains his body and everything. But when he asked the boon, he did not ask that, my dear Lord, give me pure devotion. He only asked material sense gratification, power. He cannot be killed. So why they're asking they shouldn't be killed? Because they want to safeguard themselves from the death so that they can enjoy. But how many years did he enjoy? Hardly a couple of years he enjoyed, and then he was also devastated. So in short, to summarize, we have already reached time. In short, to summarize, when we are performing tapasya for material sense gratification, our tapasya is going to be very long, like Hiranyakashipu, like Ravana, like so many other daityas. Their focus is only material sense gratification. So they are doing long tapasya. They're getting very short-term benefits, right? The benefits are there for very short time and they are wiped out. And they are always in anxiety. They are never satisfied. Okay, I got this bone. I am very, very satisfied, peaceful. No, they're always in anxiety, still fearing that something can come and people can take away their power. They're always hankering. They want more. Ravana was also hankering. He had 1,000 wives and so many dasis in his service, but still he was hankering for Mother Sita, right? They are never satisfied and they are certain for disaster. That's the problem with the tapasya when it is performed for the material benefits. Now you just see the other side of it, the flip side, when we are performing tapasya for spiritual realization, right? So the tapasya's duration is short. When I say short, you see the example of Dhruva Maharaj Tapasya, 6 months. Prahlad Maharaj Tapasya, very short, right? As a human being in this Kali Yuga, if you're doing Tapasya by chanting this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, by just chanting this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra in this lifetime, we can get rid of this material creation, we can reach the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We can reach up to Goloka. Just imagine, just one lifetime of tapasya and it is done, right? Couple of years. We don't have to do tapasya for thousands of years, life after life. No. So short term, short duration, long term benefits, and the devotee always depends on the Lord. So there is no anxiety. When you get money, you are happy. When you don't get money, you are still happy, because the purpose of the life is not, you should have a lot of material comforts, but the purpose is that, are you engaged in the devotional service? And if the answer is yes, so the devotee is always happy. And they are not hankering, I should get this, I should get this. No, because they know that I have got this Krishna consciousness. Now, if I don't get anything, there is no problem, because this Krishna consciousness is going to take me away from this material problems, right? So the devotee is fully satisfied, and they are certain for success. There is no doubt that there can be failure for a devotee of the Lord. So I'm sorry for exceeding. I would like to stop here. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask your questions. And if I have committed any mistakes, please do forgive me. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Patit Pavan Guru Maharaj ki jai. Hare Krishna. So I know there are very few devotees today, because most of the devotees were in Yatra. I think they would have returned yesterday night, or today they are returning. I'm not sure. But if you have any questions or any clarification, you can always mention it here.